In 3, 2, 1. Hello, all you outdoor enthusiasts. I'm Hunter,
And I'm Hunter.
and this is H&H Awakening, our podcast about anything that has to do with outdoors for anyone who enjoys the outdoors, hunting, fishing, shooting, or whatever. So today, we're kind of going to just be introducing ourselves, talking about who we are, where we came from, and why we decided to start this podcast. And basically, it's just a way for everyone out there listening, whether it be one person or thousands of people, who knows. Basically, it's a way for you to get to know us and understand why we're doing this. We're not claiming to be the all-knowing or professionals at anything that we talk about. This is just a way for some blue-collar guys to talk about things they love, and for other people alike to listen and get different points of views on things. We're like I said, though,
So it's kind of more of an educational podcast. We're not going to be getting into politics unless it's going to be involving, like, I know there's a pistol brace ban and stuff like that. So we'll be discussing stuff like that, but it won't be like, oh, screw this guy, screw this guy. It's going to be more of like how it's going to change the way that the civilians of the United States kind of interact with each other, and we're just going to put our 2 cents to it. So
yeah, basically is we're given the opportunity to people who may have been in the outdoor activities such as hunting. This is a way for me to share my experiences, and maybe you haven't had that kind of experience yet, and it's a way for you to learn, or maybe you have, and it's just a way for everybody to kind of come here and relax and maybe learn a thing or two, or maybe laugh at what we say because
you think we're stupid.
You think we're stupid. So I guess, Hunter, you want to start us off, kind of give a background of your background in outdoor activities?
Yeah, so I kind of grew up in Central Texas. Both me and Hunter, we both went to the same school, so that's where we met. And I started off, shooting.
Fell in love.
And shot. I just remember when I was little, going out to my granddad's farm and shooting 22s and stuff, just learning how to shoot, and I kind of fell in love with the sport of shooting at that point. Then Dad brings out the 12 gauge and says, "Good luck, son," at like 10 years old, and that's a fun time too. So that's really about it for me. I haven't really gotten into hunting that much, mostly just target shooting. I did a little bit of competition with pistols in high school. I didn't do it too long, and then got shipped off to college and kind of just exploded from there. So what about you, Hunter?
Well, I started out whenever I was born. My dad, being an outdoor hunting enthusiast he decided to name me Hunter because he wanted me to, hunt. They wanted to name me Bow Hunter, but then everybody's like, no. My dad's like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to be into bow hunting or any of that, which I have a background that I'll get into later about archery and bows and everything. But I kind of want to say I was born into the lifestyle. I didn't really have a choice, and I'm glad I was born into the lifestyle because I've enjoyed every second of it. I think my dad said maybe a few weeks after I was born, he bought me my first rifle, and I couldn't even hold the darn thing. But at age 6, my dad instructed me all of the proper ways to, such as firearm safety and everything, and took me out hunting and kind of showed me the way. And after my first kill at 6 years old, I fell in love with it and had many experiences harvesting animals ever since. And so that's how I got into hunting. And then, of course, that led to other things such as archery. I started competing in archery around, I want to say 9 or 10, may have been younger than that, and fell in love with archery. It's an amazing sport. Kind of transitioned into going from just state level to across the U.S. and spent many years competing in road time heading to competitions with that. And then, of course, just like every other gun-toting American, I like to shoot targets and plink, as they call it. So pretty much anything that you can do outdoors, I've tried to do it. I haven't done everything. There's still a big bucket list I want to complete. But, yeah, I fell in love with fishing, hunting, everything. Fishing, not as much as hunting, but, yeah, I mean, that's a good summary of who I am and why I love the outdoors. It's a great way to get away and kind of, sounds corny, but be at one with nature. You get to kind of just be yourself and no one judging you, no technology, just you're free. Kind of feels amazing, and I love to have the right to do that. And that's every day I get a chance to, I express that freedom and have enjoyed it.
And I think this podcast is a good way of like telling your stories and what you've done. So because I know like we both like shooting guns. We both shot archery, and I went to a few competitions with you. We both like to fish, but I don't really have an experience with like deer hunting, but I do have experience with dove hunting, duck hunting, a lot of long range shooting. So a lot of pistol shooting, a lot of AR builds, AR shootings, all that other kind of stuff. So I think this is a good chance to kind of bring everybody on the same page and just give our opinions on everything. So,
yeah, for sure. I haven't done so much of the target shooting with firearms. I'd like to get into that. I know you've definitely had some experience with that, and that's one thing.
Probably too much, to be honest. But.
One thing, yeah, that's one thing I like about us starting this podcast is me and you have different experiences when it comes to activities that you would call as outdoor activities, but it's a good way for me and you to kind of learn from each other, and then other people, whether they're young or old, someone out there may be thinking about getting into, shooting competition, target shooting or whatever,
or competition coyote shooting, which we'll probably discuss in a later podcast. So
yeah, so I mean, it's a way. Just I like hearing other people's experiences and learning from what they learn from in their experience. So this is just another source of someone to do that. And this is kind of a source for your average Joe. And, because I mean, I'm no millionaire and I can't afford all these big fancy equipment. So
it would be nice though.
Yeah, it would be nice. But this is kind of a way for other people like me who, just they work 40 plus hours a week and they still want to enjoy the outdoors, and they do it with the equipment they can get, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how expensive it was. It just matters that it works. And that's kind of what I want to talk about is just, function over form.
And we kind of decided to do this podcast because there's other, Second Amendment podcasts or their outdoors podcasts, but it doesn't really, from the ones that I've listened to, they're kind of all the same. Like, oh, I shot this giant buck at this specific spot in Iowa. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, I want to know how you got to that point. Like, is it on a high fence? Did you spot and stalk it for days at a time? Like,
yeah, what sort of factors went into that, what was the weather like, conditions, everything.
Yeah, versus just saying, hey, here's what I did. Good luck, bud. So
yeah,
it's kind of just we don't really care about stuff unless you can prove it. That's the way I kind of am with shooting, just because I kind of believe in the philosophy that, at least in the gun world, and this kind of applies to everything, but there's always going to be somebody better than you. It doesn't matter if you think you're the best long-range shooter. There's going to be somebody better than you. There's somebody going to have that one piece of equipment that you don't have that, just makes them that much better. But it's also another point of discussion. It's not the stuff you have. It's the shooter at hand or the fisherman, or, it's all about technique. It's not about what you actually own. So,
yeah, shot placement and all that. Because you can have a $2,500 rifle, and you can have a Night Force, $3,000 Night Force scope and all this, but at the end of the day, if you can't properly use the equipment you have, it makes no difference between you and some guy who's got a $400 setup, or a hand-me-down setup. All that matters is how you use the equipment, because there's guys out there that can take some
A 60-year-old 30-06 and go smoke a 240-point mule deer in the middle of West Texas. Then there's, millionaire Joe over here who has like a $5,000 rig, can't hit a 8-point whitetail in East Texas that's a couple hundred yards away. So it's all about experiences. Like obviously that some people do have more shooting experience than others. So we're just trying to educate people into the fact that it's not all that you see. So like a lot of the times it's stories. Like I caught a fish this big. Okay, where's a picture of it? Oh, I dropped the camera in the water. Okay, then I don't believe you at this point because I wasn't there. I didn't see it. Let's go try and find it again. Then I'll believe you. So I don't know if that's the way you think, but that's kind of the way that I think. I know that there's way better shooters than me. I'm not going to deny that. But
which I understand.
I
sometimes
like to
you're living in the moment.
Well, yeah.
You don't necessarily capture everything.
And I also understand that too. So, but like for example, at work, we started getting into very competitive like 22 shooting. Like we each had like a range limit that we got into. I think it was like $500 for a 22, and then you couldn't spend more than I think it was like $300 on a scope, something like that. I can't remember exactly what our limits were, and then it was kind of just a black hole. And we were at the gun range every weekend that we had off, trying to get the smallest groups possible at 100 yards. And 1 week I would beat like one of my coworkers, and next week he'd beat me. Like it's just back and forth. It's all about a personality perspective, in my opinion. So. Which I don't think I've discussed with you about my competitive, 22
nature. Oh no, yeah, you haven't told me about that.
Yeah, that can be a whole nother podcast too. So, and there's not really much more than that. It's just we just had this friendly competition. We weren't money wasn't on the line. We didn't really think anything of it. But I feel like I have more experience than him because he's from Wisconsin, so he doesn't. I don't know if he has much long distance experience, but just messing around at ranches and stuff, shooting rocks at 800 yards with a 300 blackout, which is like insane, but it takes 30-40 shots, but you get to it. So
yeah, which you brought up 22 shooting. I would like to say that when it comes to competitiveness and shooting, I become very competitive when shooting the shit, I guess, with your buddies and pistols.
Oh yeah,
especially
I remember going
especially
to
22 Heritage. Yeah,
I remember going to gun range with you a couple times, and we're like, all right, 5, 10, 15, 25 yards, and if you hit one outside of the zone, you're out.
Yeah,
I remember doing that, and you have to do it as fast as you can. So
I'm no world champion at shooting pistols, but man, pistols is my thing. I love rifles, and I'm not so much of an AR guy. I have built an AR, and I do enjoy it, but
I'll just help you get into that if you want. So
yeah, I definitely see myself building another AR in the future. But right now, my thing's always been pistols and bolt guns and lever guns. And right now, I'm definitely, as you know, on my bolt gun fix again. So I probably build a few custom bolt guns before I touch an AR again, just because I don't know why, but I've just always favored bolt guns more.
It's a lot more fun. So
I feel like it takes a lot more focus, I guess you could say, or like attention to detail.
It's not even. I kind of agree with attention to detail, but it's also like patience. Whenever we went to the gun range and about my 300 blackout, and we're it was me, you, and one of our buddies, and we were just like laying into the target, but you get a group that's like outside of a man at 5 yards. You're like, is it me? And it most likely is, because it's just you're not focusing on the fundamentals. You're just trying to have fun, which
Mhm.
which is also important to have fun because why else get into this part of the world, I guess you could call it, because like there's the fishing world, there's shooting world, there's hunting world, which
I think the professionals call it the industry.
probably the industry. Yeah, you're probably right. But I think we're gonna have a podcast in the future. It'll probably be the next episode. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna end up being hunting or shooting for game versus shooting like competition. I believe is what it's going to be about. Oh, sorry, it's going to be sport versus game. I have it written down right here. So, and basically just sports.
So basically, the difference between skinny jeans and Converse or Vans,
which is way
versus,
more, which is way more about like what I'm about. Like I don't really wear skinny jeans, can't fit into them anymore. But yes, I do wear Vans. I do go to the gun range in my Crocs, and I go shoot a couple hundred rounds at a time. But
yeah, which nothing wrong with that. It's just you see now in today's media they like to put. That's the thing too that we're going to try to avoid is now on media, social media, and everything. You see more people categorizing everyone in the like shooting industry, I guess you could call it, but they like to have their groups like
the FUDs versus the hipsters of the gun world. I feel like we're both. I don't have much hunting experience, but I'm in the middle. Like I don't really care if that makes sense. And I feel like a majority of people are in the middle, but some people are just afraid to speak out. So, and we're gonna. I think the point of this podcast is going to be and try and be a voice. So.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all I really care about is if you're interested in fishing or hunting or shooting, whatever it is that you want to do, as long as you get to, express your right to do that and you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. Who cares what, Joe Blow from down the street thinks about it? If he thinks, oh, your setup's not as fancy as mine, it doesn't matter. As long as you're out there enjoying the outdoors, that's all that you should care about. You shouldn't care about who's got a better setup or who's wearing this, who's doing this. It's just at the end of the day, people need to realize that they need to enjoy that they have the right and enjoy where we are and how we get to do all this. I mean, because yeah, you can get into, oh, well, this guy's got a better setup than me, and I wish I had a better setup like that. Like, you can get into that, but people need to stop cutting each other down just because one person has better equipment than the other.
Yeah.
Just be happy that they are out there and helping the community grow. Because if we all cut each other down and this community shrinks, then there's going to be no shooting or hunting or fishing in the future because it's going to dwindle. But the more we encourage each other to get active in the outdoors group or industry, whatever you want to call it, the better and the faster it'll grow, bigger it'll grow too. It's all about, being friendly and encouraging.
And it kind of brings back to the fact of like, there's I don't want to be like prejudicing against old people, but it's like the older generation. It's like you don't need an AR-15 to go hunt. It's like it depends where you are, in my opinion, because in some parts
and
of
what
Texas,
you're hunting.
Yeah, it depends what you're hunting. Like you have to think logically and ethically too, because it's like I'm not going to shoot a deer. And I've never gone deer hunting, but in my mind, with the tools that I currently have, I would not go hunting with a 5.56 at the places that I can go hunt because of the potential of going out to the distance of 300 yards maybe, right? And it's not that the 5.56 can't do it. It's that I'm not comfortable doing it, so I'm going to go over to my 308, which I know I can hit, probably 1.5 inch group, maybe at probably about 150 yards. So probably about just about an MOA, maybe a little bit more at distances, just depending on the distance too, obviously. But I did get a 22-250 recently, so we'll see what I want to do with that. Because I know you've hunted with the 22-250 for a long time.
Yeah, that was my first rifle I've ever received, and killed many deer with that and many other animals, and I've loved it. Have you shot you got the Bergara?
Yeah,
Is there a certain model name for it? Or?
Yeah, I got the Bergara HMR in 22-250. I don't think it's not the Pro, but I can't remember if there's like anything after. It's just the HMR. It's like the chassis, like the plastic molded chassis
with the adjustable cheek pad, right?
Yep, with the adjustable cheek pad. So it's not gonna. I don't plan on it being my deer gun, like whenever I get to that point. But I think I'm gonna keep with my 308 that I've shot 1,000 rounds through, because I know where it hits. But I think because I know you got into coyote hunting a lot recently, so I bought this like for the idea of having like a gun for coyote hunting instead of having like a 308, which was blow a hole through them, and you're wasting money on that. Get a 22-50, aim is a little bit cheaper. And if you go to competitions and stuff, you have the potential to keep the hide or whatever. So it's kind of just what I thought. I looked at forums and all that other kind of stuff. So that's kind of my point of view on getting that gun. So, and I actually just got a scope for it today. So I can't go shooting on it this weekend, but either next week sometime or then next weekend I'm probably gonna go shoot it. So
yeah, I definitely been getting into coyote hunting a lot more recently. I've always coyote hunted with my dad in the past, and I went out for the first time by myself. What was that, last week, I think? And I had a pretty darn good experience. Bagged 4 coyotes and a pig, and ran the call and everything by myself. And it was my first experience coyote hunting by myself, and really enjoyed it. Me and a couple other guys talking about doing a YouTube channel or potentially starting
which is what this is going to be a part of, basically.
Yeah. It'll all kind of be a different collab. Basically, this podcast and that YouTube channel will collaborate and bring each other on each platform. Kind of talking and everything. But we're still in the works of developing that, and hoping to eventually maybe have some sort of extermination business where ranchers can reach out to us. Hey, we're having a coyote problem, they're killing our cattle, or hogs are tearing up our farmland, whatever. Or even if it's Nancy from down the street who's got a couple acres of land out in the country and she's got her gardens being torn up by hogs, whatever. We're wanting to just be another resource. I know there's a lot of guys out there and it's becoming pretty competitive field, but we're not looking to make huge money off it. No, it's a way for us to enjoy the outdoors more and help other people out while doing it in a safe and professional manner. But that's more to come. But yeah, I think so. I've shot, going back to what you were saying about different calibers for coyote hunting, for example. I've shot few coyotes with 223, and then I've shot some others with the 2250, which if you go on a lot of predator hunting forums, they majority of the guys are shooting 22-250 or 6.5 Grendel or 6.5 Creedmoor, or a variety of category or calibers. But I gotta admit that 6.5, which I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon of 6.5 just because a lot of people are out there. Not saying it's bad or good, but just a lot of people are going to 6.5 right now. But I will have to say that after doing that hunt the other day and bagging 4 coyotes, that 6.5 really impressed me, and it didn't really tear up the coyotes too much if I were to have been in a competition from where I shot them. And I didn't have any problem with them running. They all dropped pretty fast, which also boils down to shot placement, which we're hoping to get into in a later episode, more of shot placement and everything. But yeah, so far shooting the 143 grain ELDX tips made by Hornady, the Hornady Precision Hunter. I've enjoyed it. I've bagged those coyotes and that hog the other night, and then I bagged 2 other hogs. I want to say about 3 or 4 weeks ago with that rifle so far, and I've enjoyed it. I'm interested to see see how your experience goes with your Bergera, because Bergera is a pretty well known brand and everything, and you're the one of the only other. There's two people I know personally that have them, and I want to see what's your view on that. What you said you got a new scope. What scope was that you got?
Yeah, I ended up going with a Vortex PST Gen 2, and a 3 to 15 by 44. It's got a first focal plane on it, which I'm not too sure if I want to use that for hunting or not, but I came across a deal that I couldn't just let go. I texted you this earlier, and my fiance does not like that I bought this thing today. But
when does a significant other ever happy that you purchase a new toy of significant value?
Yeah, so I got it for I think I got it for $675. It was a used it was used, and it was very lightly used. I think it was on one gun. It has some scratches where the rings were, but the glass looks fine. The guy, I told him I'd pay him more, and then I saw it with a couple dings on it, and then he said, also just to forewarn you, the illumination doesn't work anymore on it. And I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. I don't really care about illumination that much. I look through the glass, no cracks, no scratches. It looked crystal clear, like it was straight out of a box. And I go home, and I was like, I wonder what he meant by the illumination doesn't work anymore. So I opened up the cap. The battery, it was dead, and there was another one. So Vortex, I don't know if this one had it, but I know some of them do. But I just had an extra watch battery in my drawer, and I just threw it in there, and I turned it on. I was like, that dumb dude, he didn't even try checking the battery. But I think he might have had it in there backwards. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I was just trying to just check it, make sure that he wasn't lying that it wasn't working. But I got a hell of a deal on it. I paid quite a bit of money on some rings, so hopefully it'll be fine. I got TSR rings. I'm thinking about switching them out and just returning them, getting the low, because I have the mediums, and the scope kind of rides kind of high, a little bit higher than I like, but that was a fun experience today. So got to save I don't know, what is that, $400-$500 on $1,100 scope, but the guy at the gun store said that they're about to be discounted anyway. So if you're looking for an upgrade and you have that kind of money, I think they're going to be dropping them $150-ish, because I think SHOT Show 2023.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's next week. From what the gun store guys told me. So I think they're going to be dropping their Gen 3 or their Viper PSC Gen 3 line, because I think they already have one out, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly what they have out. I haven't really been paying attention to that at the moment, but yeah, that was pretty fun. So
I got the Vortex Viper on my new Ruger American, the 6.5 Creedmoor, but I got the Vortex Viper HST, which is like a hybrid between the PST and the HS apparently.
It's got the
all exposed turrets
top, right? It's just on top.
It's got the exposed turrets on all sides.
Okay.
On the HST is the one with the exposed turrets on all sides, and I went with it's a first focal plane with the 44 millimeter objective, and I usually like a 50 or 55, but with the quality of glass in that Viper, it makes up for the different size on the objective side. So I definitely notice a good amount of light capture. I'd have to say it's one of my favorite scopes. And as far as what you were saying, you're not sure if you're going to use the first focal plane for hunting. I do like. So I'm new to the idea of first and second focal plane, and from my understanding, is this first focal plane adjust to your magnification, the size of the reticle.
Yeah. So basically, from my understanding, the idea behind it is so they put it in front of the actual magnification part, so you're actually zooming into the into the
The
reticle.
reticle.
But I don't want to be wrong in saying this, but it because you don't really need to use this anymore. But for like range finding with your reticle, you can definitely do that with these reticles that we both have.
Hmm.
I think in the booklet it tells you how to do it, but basically, oh, actually no, I'm completely wrong. I just remembered why. So you know, like on second focal plane, some of them will have like dots and hash marks and stuff.
Hmm.
Well, whenever you zoom in, you know, obviously the point of impact is going to be different. So,
Yeah,
so
because the reticle's not changing with the magnification.
yeah, yeah. So like, you know, you're not going to hit on the reticle like you think you are um, if you zoom out all the way. So,
Yeah,
but like for the first focal plane, the impact's going to be the same, basically, basically no matter what. So
which
if
I
it,
have enjoyed with hunting is the magnification because like one of the coyotes I shot at was about two. Third one I shot was at right about 250, and I zoomed. I usually shoot on my average shots. It's about 8 power or eight magnification on that scope,
mhm,
but with a coyote being a little smaller, um,
kind of cranked
I
down
like
on
to.
it and went all the way
Yeah,
up.
I went. Well, I didn't go all the way up to 16, but I went to about 11, I would say, on the magnification just
Hmm.
to kind of get his full body in there, and uh, I aimed right where I needed to, and it still hit the same. You can kind of tell that the reticle's changing with the magnification if you focus on it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it hit the same spot. I aimed dead on with it, you know, because of how I sighted in my rifle, and it hit the same exact spot on that coyote as it did as the first one I shot at 150 yards. And I don't know if that's just because of me and how I shoot, or if it had to do with that first focal plane, you know, adjusting to my magnification. Because the first one I shot was at 8 power, and the second one was at 11 power. I aimed the same exact way, and it hit the same spot. So if it's due to the first focal plane and it adjusting it, then I mean I definitely see the
Well,
perks of it over second.
well, the, I, don't- I think I understand what you're saying. Are you kind of saying that like you think with the magnification and it's zooming in on the reticle, it adjusts the reticle? Is that kind of what you're
I'm saying,
saying?
well, like what I'm trying to say is, so you know how you're saying the second focal plane, it's not going to hit the same on the reticle with different magnifications versus focal plane. It adjusts it that way you do,
Oh yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is, it didn't mess up my shot between
Oh,
the
okay,
150
okay,
yard shot I took and the 250-yard shot I took.
yeah,
I didn't
okay,
have to worry about, you know, oh, where's this reticle going to hit now that I zoomed in to
yeah.
11 power instead of 8 power.
It makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
It probably did help with your placement, especially if you're doing a holdover.
Hmm.
So, um, but yeah.
And especially using that bog stick. That bog stick, that was my first true experience hunting with that. The bog gripper, or I think, what do they call it? The bog,
The death grip, I think is what it is.
death grip. Death grip. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I
So,
got the stick right here in front of me. That death grip, it's, to me in the field, it makes it feel as if you're shooting on in a vise or a bench rest
mhm.
at the range.
So how does that? So I have one, haven't shot with it yet.
Hmm.
Does it reduce recoil at all, or does it kind of keep
Yes.
it?
No, tremendously reduces recoil. So the 6.5 Creedmoor with I've
Which
had,
it doesn't have a lot of recoil to begin with.
yeah, it doesn't have a whole lot of recoil. Now, for example, in my experience, I've had two shoulder surgeries repairing the labrum and multiple breaks. So I cannot withstand recoil as good as others. And that was my big concern with the 6.5 is that impact on my shoulder with the damage. And off, you know, using like a regular bipod that attaches to your sling mount, the recoil's a little. I would say I feel the recoil a big amount more, considerably more than I do with the bog stick. The bog stick, I can literally put it in the death grip and just rest it against my shoulder and pull the trigger. I'm not having to put tension on there. I'm not having to brace for the impact. Nothing. I would say shooting that rifle on a bipod that mounts to your sling, I would say you feel the recoil, you know, I would say like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say you feel it at about an 8 or 9. And then shooting on that bog stick, I feel the recoil at maybe a 2, if that. It depletes the recoil a good amount in my experience.
Okay.
Which it also has to do. I was watching a video on a guy. I can't remember the name, or I'd give him credit, but he had a video talking about how to properly shoot with a bog stick, because just because that you have that bog stick don't mean you just throw it out there and shoot off it. You do need to make sure you have it properly planted, or you know, the legs adjusted and everything for it to work the best way possible. I mean, it's not a complicated device to operate, but after watching his video and learning, you know, according to what position you are, you need to make sure you have the stick this way or that way. Because I've shot it both in prone and while sitting on my butt, and actually one of the coyotes, I adjusted the stick and I was sitting. I wouldn't call it Indian style. I don't know, what is it called, where your shins are on the ground and your butt's on the back of your heels.
Oh,
no.
Oh.
Like your shins are on the ground and you're sitting on your heels.
Kind of like a prayer kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like, you know, like some religions, they pray like that, I guess. Kind of sitting in that position, and I adjusted the bog stick accordingly, and still it shot tremendously. So I mean, with anything, any kind of equipment out there, you don't want to just buy it and go straight out to the field and, you know, try to harvest something. You want to pay respect to that animal and make sure you are well prepared in practice.
Yeah. So do you put like, if you can kind of describe it, do you put like the one leg, you know, like one leg has foam on it?
Yeah, that leg goes forward.
Oh, it goes forward? Okay.
Yeah, when I use it, that leg goes forward, and I have the other two to the rear bracing it.
Okay. So I thought the way you use those kind of tripods was you set that specific leg, and it doesn't have to be that one, it could be any of them, but they have like the foam thing. You set that leg behind it, like directly under the gun, and then so whenever you shoot it, that leg basically stops the recoil. I could be completely wrong. I've never shot off of it, so I don't know exactly how to use it, but you know, you have the tools. I'm going to test it out a couple different ways, see which way works best for me. So,
which, like what I was saying is, you know, everyone operates different. So the main thing is to get out there and practice with it and figure out how it operates the best for you. And the way it operates the best for me, I mean, I'm not saying it's the way it's supposed to be, but the way it operates best for me is I have that foam leg forward, and then the other two kind of straddling me, or, you know, out to 45 of me. And it's worked out pretty darn good for me. I can't complain the way I'm using it, but yeah, I mean, with anybody, you need to get out there and kind of figure it out. And the thing I like about it too, I don't know if you noticed on the bottom, it comes factory with the rubber, but if you screw that rubber, it'll actually reveal the spikes for different terrain.
So I was at my fiance's dad's house, and I showed her dad, and he was like, "Oh, let's go in the backyard or the front yard and go shoot it." I'm like, "All right." Well, he brings out like a pellet gun or whatever, and then I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And it didn't move at all. I was actually pretty surprised. Like, it was, I don't remember if it was wet or dry, but it didn't eat. Either way, it didn't eat. It just stuck in the ground. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy how well they work. I definitely see why a lot of people are using them. What drove me to actually purchase one was, well, actually, I can't say I purchased it. It was gifted to me for graduation, but or no, that was Christmas. But anyways, what drove me to even look at getting one was I'm part of one of the forums on Facebook, you know, Texas Predator Hunting, and it's a pretty good group to join if you're looking at either getting into or just learning from other people that are hunting predators such as coyotes and hogs and everything, and bobcats. But a lot of guys I noticed had those bog sticks, so I did my research through YouTube, which, you know, YouTube is
it's the almighty source of information.
Yeah. Nothing's right or wrong on there. It's
No,
crazy
no,
everything you can learn.
I think everything is right on there. It doesn't matter
Uh,
who it is.
yeah.
It is right 100% of the time. So
Yeah, yeah. I did some research on there and decided to get one, and I can't complain. And I'm kind of getting my ultimate. Not saying like it's anyone else's, but my ultimate setup for hunting coyotes and hogs or whatever. And so I got the bog stick, got the rifle decked out the way I wanted it. Looking at getting thermal in the future.
well, it's all. I think that box stick or the death grip or whatever it's called. Um, I haven't really seen videos of it, but on the box it shows a guy in the mountains. Like I don't know if he was goat hunting, elk hunting, whatever, but you just sitting there on like the mountainside, just his tripod sitting there with his gun on it, and I'm like, that'd be pretty cool. So,
Yeah, they definitely have good advertising for their products.
oh yeah, and they're not that expensive either. Like, because I know some
they
other,
have different ranges of prices.
yeah, because I know they have a carbon fiber one that's like I don't know the exact price on it, but I know I think I paid 170 for mine. I can just Google it right quick.
Yeah, I think the difference too. So like the ones me and you have are aluminum. I think it's about a 2 pound difference if I'm not mistaken.
I think
It's like
it's 8.3 pounds.
yeah on the aluminum.
Yeah, I'm looking at the specs of it right now on the. It's like a pound difference. It's 7.5 on carbon fiber, so
Yeah,
it looks the
which
same.
when you're backpack or you're walking fields all day, that pound difference will make.
Yeah, it'll definitely make a difference. But just if you're not gonna walk and you have a spot, then you gotta. I don't know.
Which when it comes to to the way me and my dad coyote hunting, I mean, a lot of guys coyote hunt anything. You're going to be moving a lot. I mean, for the most part, you're going to be stationary. You'll pick your kind of your set, as some guys call it, and you may get one. Like the other night, I probably walked in a circle about 4 times, ranging from 200 to 300 yards. Just I'd call one Yodi in and knock him down, and then I'd move, call from about 200 yards away, a different spot, just to kind of keep them on their toes, That way they don't pinpoint, oh, okay, we got to stay away from this area. They kind of get thrown off by it. But carrying that stick around wasn't too bad. Most of the time I just carry it in my left hand and my rifle's on the sling. But there's a few times I just strapped it to my bags. My bag's got straps on the side of it, and
yeah, that's kind of the way I have it.
Yeah.
Just for like storage and just moving it around. I've got a gun case that can hold 2 guns. I think I have one of my ARs in it right now, and then I have my 308 in it. It's I don't want to call it my bug out bag because it's really not, but that's what I would take with me if the world was coming to an end. It would be that bag because it has spots for my AR mags. It has a lot of pockets for ammo in it, so I'm like, this can be it. But it has it has straps like what you were saying on like the bottom of the bag, and I literally just clipped 2 of the legs together and cinched it down all the way. It doesn't move, so, but it does add 9 pounds, 9.5 pounds, 8.5 pounds, whatever the weight is. So
yeah, I think so. I bought my dad one of the bog sticks after he saw mine. He kind of fell in love with it. I think we're gonna figure a way to maybe attach some sort of strap, like shoulder strap or backpack strap to it.
yeah, I was kind of thinking of the same thing. Like the other day, I was like, dude, if they had a model like this, which they probably do somewhere out there, right?
Yeah.
If you could just put like a QD sling on it,
Yeah.
like a, I don't want to say cheap either, but like a cheaper sling on it, you just stick it
Throw
on
it right
your
over your
back,
shoulder.
yeah, you stick it over your shoulder like just like a rifle and call it good. Oh, so also the website that I found this this grip on. Have you ever heard of B&H Photo and Video?
No, I've not. Is that where you found it at?
Yeah, that's where I found it. It's $145.
Wait,
So,
what is it again? You talking
B
about that's where
B
you found the
yeah, I found it at a photo and video store.
that tripod?
Yeah,
Oh, I have seen that logo, not around my area, but in the bigger cities
yeah.
that I've traveled to, I have seen one of those stores. Huh. Yeah, well, they do advertise it as like camera tripod. You can get different attachments for it.
But it says
Uh,
here, well, I guess optics, field accessories, firearm equipment. So
huh.
whatever we may have a podcast about this. Who knows? like like trusted online sources, because I know that the online sources can be kind of sketchy sometimes. So it probably wouldn't hurt to go over an episode like that or something. So
Yeah, my I've had some experiences on different websites that I wasn't too sure about, but I end up ordering, either
one
Glock parts or whatever from it,
I'm
and
I'm gonna say one website that I've always had kind of not bad luck with, but I've just heard terrible things about. Starts with an O. Have you heard of
starts
this?
with an
Yeah.
uh.
Second word is a P. It's two words, O and P. Optics Planet.
Oh, oh. You've had see, I've been looking at it does have like kind of a sketchy interface, I guess, but
No,
um
so I had
that's who I'm actually thinking about ordering my thermal through.
really?
Yeah, they
So
because
I
me and my dad get a
had
lot of discounts from them.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a friend that bought and we're kind of going off on a tangent here. I really don't know what we're talking about at this point anymore, but from shooting off a tripod to Optics Planet, I had a close friend of mine buy a Trijicon MRO. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
$750 optic,
Mm-hmm.
and it never arrived at his house. It never said delivered. It just said being prepared to ship, and it said that for probably, I think, 3 weeks. I said seven hundred
Huh.
fifty. It's probably about $500. $500 optic at the time,
Yeah.
and it was in stock. It was the one that he wanted, and he just called them and canceled the order. And they said it's going to take about a month for his money to hit his account. So
That's weird.
yeah, it might have been just like a one-off thing, but that's so. It's just kind of my point of view. Like, I'm very skeptical about buying online to begin with.
Yeah, I'm too impatient to buy online most of the time.
It's not even the impatient part. Like, it's kind of like buying a pair of headphones. I can't buy a pair of headphones online. I have to listen to them before I buy them. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which
Which
I'm thankful that like Best Buy and like Guitar Center, like they have the headphones that you can like listen to and listen for audio quality, which is
mhm.
really nice, because I was like, oh, this pair looks really nice. It's $350, and it's just sounded like crap. It might have just been the demo model too, but
Yeah. Yeah, I say I'm very impatient, which when it comes to online ordering, and it's kind of hypocritical of me or maybe idiotic of me, but here recently I did just apply for my new suppressor,
I
which
know I heard about that. It's surprising.
through through Silencer Shop, you can do majority of it online. Besides, I did have to go into the store for my fingerprinting, and then have to go back into the store when I certify it. But yeah, for someone who's very impatient when it comes to ordering something online, as most people know, ordering a suppressor is a very lengthy process, and
Yeah,
I
you should,
it hasn't set in yet.
you should kind of explain a little bit better. So I did one pre eForm, like during
Hmm.
COVID-19, like right at the beginning, like April 20.
So you did yours on paper?
Yeah, no, I didn't do it on paper. I still did it through Silencer Shop.
Yeah.
So like, it's still like, technically like, electronically, but the whole new e-form system, from what I understand of it, is like you don't know because you have your license to carry, but like if you didn't have your license to carry, they had to run like a background check on you.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the whole new e-form process is. It's supposed to basically streamline it.
Oh,
So
okay.
so
So
you
make
do,
it where you don't see a piece of paper,
yeah, basically, until you get your tax stamp. So
which makes sense because I'm in the so for all of you that are maybe new to the idea of getting a suppressor or thinking about getting one, I'm pretty new to it as well.
or you
And
know nothing else about it.
yeah, the process so far for me has been pretty stressless. I went through Silence Shop, which is a pretty well-known company for handling your transfers and everything. Found the suppressor I wanted, which I'm going with I originally wanted two other ones, but they both went on back order because they're pretty popular. And from my understanding, if a suppressor's on back order, they can't start your paperwork until it comes back into stock, which would lengthen the already pretty long process of getting a suppressor. So I was like, you know what? I spoke with Hunter, and because he used to work at a gun shop, so he has pretty good experience with this kind of thing, and he has his own suppressor. And he referred me to this other one that a couple of his buddies have. It's called the Yankee Hill Machine Resonator R2. So I found that one on there. I said, pretty. Uh, it's not too bad on the bank as far as price or whatever, and all the reviews are
it,
pretty darn good
it,
on
it
it.
was like $500, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about 589 with tax stamp and everything. It came out to like 867, but um, it was a little cheaper than the other ones I was looking at. The other ones I was looking at were about 860, 899.
And
Which
I know that
they're good suppressors too.
the Trash Panda, the one that I have, the one that you were looking at,
Hmm.
that one, it's like 1,100 right now, I think is what it is.
Yeah, through Silencer Shop you can get it for right at
Yeah.
$1,050, I think.
Okay, it's not too
Uh,
bad. So
yeah,
it's come down a bit. So when I worked at the gun store, I was very, not. I was very fortunate to be in the situation that I was in because I was making decent money, and I talked with the owner and the managers about it, and I was like, hey, I don't have all the money to buy it right now. Can I just pay it off over time? Which some stores they will work with you on that. Other
yeah,
stores won't. It just depends where you go and how often you go there, and if you know the people and if you trust them. Because I know there's a couple gun stores that I would not do that through at all. I know,
yeah.
I know you know one because we talked about him yesterday. I'm not going to name drop him because
Their reputation
I don't want to
has
promote
gotten
them.
out there enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it really depends on where you go to because like the gun store that I worked at didn't have an indoor range, but they had an outdoor range. And if you had a suppressor, it was locked away until whenever you got your tax stamp back. But I do know some gun stores that do have like an indoor range. Like there's one,
hmm
it was like the rival in our town to it, to my gun store, which it was a pretty good gun store. They had good products, but not near as much as what we did. If you got a suppressor through them, they would give you the muzzle devices if it had like QD or anything like that, and
Yeah, the mount.
yeah, and you could go in there and have like a babysit sesh with them. Like you could take the suppressor out of their safe, throw it on your gun, and shoot with it for however long
Yeah,
you're there.
I heard of a YouTuber I watch. He's from Texas as well, and there's actually a store he goes to, and the way they do it is you can purchase suppressor and everything, and while you wait on your suppressor, they allow you to come into their range and shoot your suppressor.
Yeah,
You just can't go home with it,
obviously.
yeah,
You'll get in big trouble. So
yeah, which is pretty cool though for those who it makes like for me. I mean, it when it comes to buying a suppressor, it is a very hesitant or uncomfortable process
especially if it's
to
your first one.
yeah, you're putting so much money down and you don't get a return until X amount of months later, depending on how lucky you get. And, you kind of feel like, oh, I just spent all this money, but I can't even use the item I spent it on, which, so with gun ranges like that, it is cool that they allow you to do that.
Which,
But
which,
yeah,
which the guys there, I'll be honest, they're kind of know-it-all douchey, and I went in there to go buy a barrel from them one time,
You
and
talking about the one that is near me, or you talking about the one near you?
near me,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And so I bought a barrel from them, and they're like, it was an 8.5 inch 300 blackout barrel. I know 300 blackout's pretty controversial, especially nowadays, but
Hmm.
I really like it suppressed. So it's like,
Which is supposed to be the best suppressed round, isn't it? Like, or best
yeah,
caliber to suppress.
yeah, because you can make it into like an AR, throw a
Hmm.
suppressor on it, and it's damn near like quiet. Like that's almost 100% quiet. Like you can't hear anything.
Yeah, the
So
decibel reduction's pretty great.
yeah, um, but I walked in there and the guy's like, "Oh, I'd go this one." He tried upselling me to, I think it was like a 10.5 inch. Okay, so I bought a 8.5 inch ballistic advantage. I don't remember which model it was. It was like $225. Came with the gas block. Came with the gas tube. Like it was basically just ready to be put on a gun. Um,
Hmm.
he tried upselling me to an Odin Works 10.5 inch 300 blackout barrel. That was, I don't remember. I think it's like 275, 300. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but I do know that the Odin Works stuff's like 275,
Hmm.
which I respect the hustle from the guy because he was really trying to sell it to me. But I was like, no, I don't want this barrel. I want this one. And he kept saying, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, dude. I don't. I want a 8.5 inch 300 blackout. That is what I want right now." And I said it kind of sternly, and he's like, "Okay, fine." So he ended up. He almost made me walk out. I'll be honest, but
Yeah,
because he was like, "Well, the bullets go faster with the lighter weight bullets," and I was like, "I don't care. I'm
yeah.
shoo-
You know what you want.
I know what I want. Like I'm shooting. I'm gonna shoot subsonic, 220 grain, just fat bullets out of this thing. I don't care if it's 10 inches, 8 inches, but this is the one that I've been looking at. This is the one that I want." And he finally understood. Like I'm not saying like that I knew more than the kid, because I probably do, because I feel like I'm pretty well versed in stuff. I know people know more than I do, but like I like learning stuff too. So,
Yeah,
but I basically just like I almost walked out, and
yeah,
I told him like at checkout, I was like, "Dude, you almost made me walk out of the store." Like whenever I tell you no the first 3 times, I don't want it. So
no means no.
exactly. But
Yeah,
I did get a 6 inch 300 blackout barrel for Christmas this year, so
mm,
I'm looking for a handguard right now. I didn't really think about handguard length because they're very hard to find, and
yeah. Especially when you get into those shorter ones.
there's not many people that make one. So I'm looking at the Noveski. I know Midwest Industries makes one, but I don't like the way it looks. So I'm looking at the Noveski rails right now. They have I think it's called NHR. It's like 4 inches, and it goes right over the gas block. In my mind, it's gonna look sick. So like, I know it's gonna be good looking, at least to me. So, but it is a pretty expensive handguard for this gun. So
Yeah. So going back to the suppressor buying process for newcomers.
yeah,
So the way the process has been for me so far is I found the suppressor I wanted on Silencer Shop, and it directs you to approved vendors who have kiosk or whatever who you can transfer it to. And I had one in mind already. It's pretty, uh, I wouldn't say new, but newer shop here in town, and I really like them. I built a relationship with them, so I chose them. You have to pick a tax stamp with it, which Silencer Shop does do promos where they'll pay for your tax stamp on some of them, or they call it get a free tax stamp. But this one didn't come with that, so picked the suppressor, picked out a tax stamp, and I went ahead and did a single shot trust just in case I decide to add someone to it in the future. Which, for those of you who don't know, from my understanding, a trust is a form that allows you to basically, because say I were to have the suppressor and we went shooting and something happened, I had to leave or whatever, or for whatever reason you wanted to be in possession of the suppressor without me there, you would have to be on the trust, basically verifying that you are legally allowed to own this or have this in your possession, it's basically a way for the ATF to say, yeah, you can allow this person to use it without you there. So I selected those 3 items and went check out, purchased it, good. And then Silence Shop's pretty good about breaking down the steps for you. So I went ahead and followed the next step, which was to fill out my basic information on there, your background, all your physical features, all that. And then it came to the part that I actually had to go to the store for, which is your fingerprints, which you can go to a Silencer Shop kiosk. You're starting to see them pop up at a lot more gun shops now as they get approved for them. So this is the part of the process I would say that was the most, not necessarily stressful, but just more painstaking part of the process for me. My shop that I go to is closed on Sundays and Mondays, so I decided to go to another shop in town to try to get it done on Monday, and which goes to experiences and everything, which I want to break down in a later episode. But went into the shop, hey guys, how you doing? I'm looking at getting my fingerprints done, and they wanted to charge me $40 just to scan my fingerprints, which takes less than 5 minutes. Different people have different opinions of how they choose to spend their money and what they believe is of value to them. And to me, spending $40 for you to allow me to use a kiosk that a vendor has placed there just to do your fingerprints, I didn't see the benefits of it. So I, respectfully said, all right, well, I'll go back to my other shop when they open. And they decided to be rude about it, which is something that most shops need to understand. Is people like me who's new to this process or whatever, we're just trying to, express our Second Amendment rights, and you think they'd want to be more enthusiastic or more, what's the word I'm looking for? More
willing to help, basically.
Yeah, willing to help or whatever. You think they'd see, okay, here's a guy, he's wanting to get into suppressors and all that, and hey, why don't we just let this guy, use our kiosk, and then maybe it'll bring him back in to, buy more of our products. Which, after that experience and a few others I've had there, I can't say I'd go back. I have my home base store, I guess you'd call it, that I'm pretty happy with. So, long story short, I went there today, got my fingerprints done. I'd say it took right at 5 minutes, which is what Silence Shop advertises it as. It was just scan your fingerprints, fill out some more information, quick information, everything. And now I'm on the process of waiting for approvals and documents to be sent to me. Right now, it actually says waiting Form 3 approval. Do you know what the Form 3 is?
I do not know what that is. That's probably going to be a Google after the show ends, so we can. I didn't know you got that message. So
yeah, because it shows. So that's another thing I like about Silence Shop is they have a pretty nice interface that shows you where you're at in the process. And I've done the DocuSign there. I've taken care of all the paperwork, and now the next step is preparing the e-forms, and then which is when they'll call me and I'll go in and it'll be ready to certify and all that. My Form 4, which is what majority of suppressor owners are going to go through, is a Form 4, which means it's a manufacturer made the suppressor. A Form 1, correct me if I'm wrong, but a Form 1 is if you make the suppressor. Form 4 is if you're buying a manufactured suppressor, correct?
Yeah. So, okay. But also Form 1, so there's also like SBRs and stuff too, and like short barrel shotguns. So
okay.
So if you want, if a listener, if I'm wrong and a listener wants to correct me, go ahead and correct me, so I don't sound like an idiot next time I talk about this. But on what's it called? For Form 1, you have to. It's a shorter process from my understanding, but it's also you can make a lower. It's basically like the right to manufacture.
Okay.
From what I know, because you can buy the lower from like Aero Precision and make it into an SBR if you wanted to. You have to pay like a $200 tax stamp, but you can Form 1 it because you're not making it. So I have a lower that I'm
to modify it basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That form is for.
Yep.
Okay. So I actually looked it up. I'm on ATF's website. So the Form 3 is actually the application for tax exempt transfer of firearm uh, and registration to special occupational taxpayers. So from my understanding, it's basically a form they have to. Basically, it's them approving the FFL, the firearm. What is it? The federal firearms license. Yeah,
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
So basically, what it is it's basically them approving the gun shop I'm going to be able to do the transfer and give me.
Yeah. So the Form 3 is what was it? Was that the gun shop that you're getting your suppressor from? That's theirs. That's their paperwork. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so basically,
I
yeah. So
think that's
basically,
what
it's a
that
form.
means.
It's a form for them. They're basically just it's a form to approve them to do the transfer and
Yeah. And
transfer
then
it to me.
whenever it's kind of going like way in the future, but like whenever you get your suppressor, we're going to come back and actually talk about
Yeah, the overall process.
the
and how it
overall
works.
process. Yeah, we're kind of just breaking it down just in like a short sense because I already have a suppressor and I'm getting another one at the moment. I'm going through the same paperwork you're going through. See, what's different though is that Silencer Shop, they made you make a ATF form or ATF account for the e-form
Yeah.
stuff. I haven't had to do that yet. So I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's different because I haven't got a notification or an email about that. So
Are you doing it all online?
no, we're doing it through a store.
Well, see, even at that, even my store told me that. So whenever I went and got fingerprints, I asked the store. They're pretty good about being helpful through the process, especially for new buyers. They told me, I asked them. I said, "Okay, I did my fingerprints. Now what do I need to do?" And they told me that the next step I need to do is go make the ATF eForm account, because that account is what is needed to for the ATF to basically to file my Form 4 and everything. So I don't know if your shop is going to tell you that or not, which you said you've already certified yours.
Yeah, no, I only did the DocuSign through Silencer Shop. So
Oh, okay. So I did
I'm
my
at the
DocuSign.
I'm at the same point you're at right now. If that makes sense. So like
Okay.
we're at the same point. I'm gonna really
So we're both
I'm gonna
ways-
laugh if I get mine before yours though. Like I'm gonna shove it in your face. I hope you know that.
Yeah,
But
so you done your DocuSign today?
yeah, I did.
That's
it,
what you went. That's when you went store it.
No, I did it online, and then
Okay, yeah, I
and
just
then
did mine online.
And then I thought I had to go in right after I did it, so I went ahead and went in there, and that's when I bought the scope. So it was kind of a one and done, get everything I can in one trip.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they told me that basically after I do the DocuSign, they'll have some paperwork to do, and then I'll get an email to come in and basically do the certification of it, and then that's when my Form 4 and all that will. Because during the certification process, you'll go to the store and log on to your ATF thing and basically fill out the Form 4 application, and the store will have you enter your information and everything, and then once you complete that process, that'll basically be when you submit that or certify it, as they say. That's when you apply for your Form 4, and then after that, you're basically waiting for your tax stamp be approved. So
Yeah.
the store is supposed to do the ATF Form 4 submission process with you, from what I understand. But that was what he was telling me. I need the ATF form account, which Silencer Shop says it on there. If you go on Silencer Shop's website, you can hit, I think it's support, and it will tell you can put how to buy a suppressor, and it breaks it down into steps.
yeah, and another thing too. So you can actually call them as well. And they're actually a lot of really good guys up there. I don't remember whenever I was working at the gun store, we had a kiosk there, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he came in to like kind of walk us through it. So it wasn't just one person that was kind of like the whole store was relying on to get fingerprints and stuff done. So he basically we had like a crash course training, and he was probably one of the nicest guys. Like in the gun industry, like from manufacturers, like that I probably have met. So like vendors, everybody else. He was probably like the number one nicest guy I think I've met.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. So yeah, if you go on there, it breaks it down into 6 steps. So yeah, it says step 1, buy your suppressor through a shop or silencer shop, and then step 2, visit a kiosk, do your fingerprint scan, and then you got to add your photo. And then step 4, which is the part me and you just completed, is sign the DocuSign. Silencer shop will email you a DocuSign or whatever, and then which the DocuSign is just for if you're doing a trust, from what I understand. Are you doing a trust on this one?
So no. Oh yeah, yes
'Cause-
I am. Yes I am. I
Yeah, because I was told
trust.
if you're not doing a trust, you won't receive a DocuSign, from what I was told.
No, you receive a DocuSign. So the DocuSign, I got clarification on what it was actually for today. Basically, the DocuSign is just a confirmation that you know that what's the best way to describe it? He said the best way to describe a DocuSign is basically like a verification that you are getting a suppressor.
And that you're buying it for yourself, not someone else, and all that. Because
Yeah,
I remember on my
yeah.
DocuSign, it asked me, that it said, are you the actual buyer, which I am.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like when you buy a
you
firearm.
did like the 4473 form, which is
Yeah,
the form everyone has to fill out to buy a fire. So
yeah. And then it says step 5, create
Wait.
an ATF eForms account.
and then wait.
Yeah. So after you do the DocuSign, it says create a ATF eForms account. You register your account. Basically, you go on there, just make you log in and all that, make you an account. And then 6 is ready to certify. So you'll get the email from Silencer Shop, says you're ready to certify. Go to your local Powered by Silencer Shop dealer and set up a time and date. And then it says after the submission, you'll get an email from the ATF with the status submitted. And then in an expected 90 days, you'll receive another email from the ATF with the status update. When it's approved, you'll get your NFA item from the same Powered by dealer. So they're claiming 90 days still, but they've kind of updated it to 180 days.
Yeah, about 6 months, 6 to 9 months, I would say is the average.
Yeah,
but
if you go
I
on
know,
silencers,
I know. So the coworker that I was doing these 22 competitions with, he got some suppressors. I think last February. He's still waiting on the tax stamps to come back. So,
dang,
yeah, it's been a long time for him. But he did 2 or 3 at once. So I don't know if that's the reason why. But from working at the gun store, I know some people that have done that, and their tax stamps come in at different times. So I don't know if it's different now because it's so much has changed within like the past 3 to 5 years of everything that we're doing. So
yeah. So it's saying that you can even call the NFA once you've certified and everything, and they can give you like a rough estimate of when it would be approved. But it says here that in the past 3 estimates, they have been off dramatically, whether they got it faster or longer. But as of right now, let's see. So as of today, January 10th, which the podcast, I'm not sure when it will be released, but as of January 10th, the day of recording, eForm 4 with a trust is 3 days to 9 months with a median wait of 8 months. And then individual, it's 2 days through 9 months. So you're looking roughly median wait of 8 months as well. So most people, which the guy I talked to today at the gun store, he just got his last week, his approved tax stamp and everything, and he said his was right at like 8 months, like maybe a week short of 8 months. And which the good thing is though, like they're advertising the e-form is better than the paper form. The paper form they're saying right now is 14 months average wait time. So you're looking at it was a year and 2 months.
yeah, but the way that it's going right now, it's gonna be everything after a certain point. I think it was late last year.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, whenever the new e-form system got put in place, that is what the new way of doing this whole process is. So no one's. I don't really know of anybody doing the paper way.
form?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anybody doing paper forms anymore. But I think it's majority's going e-forms.
E-form.
Yeah.
It's kind of a luck of the draw. It sounds like if your form happens to come across one of their desks, some kind of thing. Because didn't you say last year when the Form 4 thing started back up, one of your buddies got it in 7 days?
No, the gun store that I went through, they posted on their Instagram. I don't know. I think they got one person. It was like the trial person of the store got it in 28 days.
Dang.
So, yeah,
That would be nice.
yeah, but it's slow. It quickly got back up to the normal wait time of like 8 months. So
Yeah, right now they're saying averaging processing times are average of 180 days for e-forms. That was October 1st. As of December, so 180 days. It says average processing times. That means like they approve it and you get it, right?
yeah,
With-
so
so 180 days.
Whenever they approve it, it's that you still have to wait, if that makes sense. So like you have to
Wait for it
wait.
to come in the mail, correct?
Yeah, I don't. But because you're going through a store, I don't know if that tax stamp goes to the store or to your house. I'm pretty sure it's going to go to the store to make sure it gets to the right person and like no one steals it.
Yeah, don't
But-
get lost in the mail.
Yeah,
So, which 180 days is right at 6 months almost, 5.914 months according to Google. But,
6 months. We'll just-
So basically, you have to wait. So once it gets approved, you wait for the suppressor or the tax stamp to get here before you can get it, correct?
yeah,
So
because
In your experience with your last one-
you legally have to be in possession.
Yeah,
of
the tax stamp.
The tax stamp, like you basically have to have it with you.
yeah, which sucks because I got to look at the suppressor I purchased today at the store, but I have to wait for that tax stamp to come in order to own it.
Yeah.
But so in your experience, when you bought your first suppressor, when it approved, how long did it take for your tax stamp to come in?
So, funny enough, I got the paperwork got to the ATF on 4/20, which is a great day, as everyone knows. So, but I think I got it in like early October. I think like October 8th. So, how long is that? Like a little under 6 months. But I also heard that at that point in time, the ATF hired a bunch of people,
Mm-hmm.
and there was, I think it was one guy who like would do like the background check and then stamp approved and then send it on, because just randomly in like right as COVID started, people were getting their tax stamps within like 3 to 5 months, which was insane.
Yeah.
So which like back then was insane.
So did you actually watch for it to say approved, or you just
Oh no!
wait for it to
no,
come in?
that's
what I was
didn't-
wondering.
I didn't even look at it, to be honest with you. Like once I got it, because I also worked at a gun store where because I was an employee of the gun store, I could take it out for a day and then return it the next day. So like I could, let's say I could go in on Friday, pick it up and return it on Saturday. It's
Oh, that's cool.
it's all at the discretion of the owner, because it's his licensing that goes through.
Yeah.
But I think it technically was a demo, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. It's technically a demo suppressor, so you can take it out for a day, shoot it, and then bring it back, which I did. So
So what you're saying is go apply at the gun shop I bought mine at and see if they'll do that.
I don't know if your gun store will do that, but that is it's just the company that I was working for at the time. So, but I don't think they do that anymore. I'm pretty sure they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I had a
Just
store here that let me go shoot it,
just for the
like the
fact
ones I've heard of.
because it was like it's what's college kids that work there, so college
Yeah,
kids are drunk all the time like I was, but I was a responsible drunk.
yeah,
and and I just think they changed like their philosophy of thinking at that store. So,
yeah,
but I think that's really it for suppressor talk until you get your suppressor back, and then we'll come back to this
yeah.
topic. So,
If I have any like big updates, I'll mention it in later episodes. Just kind of for anyone out there listening that's thinking about going through the process or going through the process just as I am. I'll kind of keep you up to date because it's hard finding, for me at least, it was hard for me to find a good source of information on the whole process.
yeah,
Most guys, when they talk about the process, it's just, yeah, you go buy your suppressor, you fill out paperwork, and you wait, and then that's about all they talk about. And I kind of, I wish I had, besides you and my other friend who has a suppressor, I wish I had like some sort of other source just to hear people's experiences. Because most people, when you hear about their experiences buying a suppressor, they're like, "Yep, waited 8 months or waited X amount of months and got it."
I
That's
mean,
about all they talk about.
my greatest piece of advice, and it's to you, to a listener, to anybody that is looking into getting one, just buy and forget because
Yeah,
like especially nowadays with everything, I it's kind of political just a little bit, like everything opening back up because COVID's kind of gone. Um, Time flies.
especially with the job I'm working in right now in HVAC.
Yeah.
Time flies fast.
Me too. Because, uh, like, I travel a lot for work, so I was in the greater Midwest this last year from like April to December, and I didn't even realize like it was like 4th of July and then Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, last
then,
year went by fast.
and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and I was like, holy cow, that it doesn't even seem like Christmas is right now, but here we go. We're gonna travel all throughout Central Texas to go visit family and stuff. So
Yeah, I almost want to call my gun shop tomorrow and be like, "Hey, it's saying that
No.
it's waiting for Form 3 approval. Does that
no,
have to do with you?"
don't. Okay, here's another tip for you guys. If you get a suppressor, don't bug the gun store.
Well, hey, they told me when I was walking out, if I had any questions about the process, call them.
Well, yeah,
I'm not gonna bug them, but
like-
I'll be like, "Hey, freaking do
no,
your part so I get this thing going."
I'm not saying that, but we had a couple people that like after I think about the 6 month mark, they'd call probably 3 times a week to see where their tax stamp was.
Yeah,
And every
No,
single
I'm
time
not gonna call-
we'd refer them because you can call the ATF to see your status of it, and,
Yeah,
and
that's
they
what I was just reading.
and they legally have to tell you it. So
yeah,
we just refer them to the ATF every single time. So just be
Yeah, well,
just
this
be,
part of
just
the
be genuine
process
to your
is just-
gun store employee because I didn't get paid that much as a gun store employee, but I was also a college kid, so I was working
So
part-time.
did you handle like whenever it says the like for instance the gun store has to do their part of the paperwork now. Did you ever handle that part or was that someone else?
That was somebody else. I think that employee at the time that I was working there, he was full time, so he could he had like 1 day off a week, and that was like that was his thing was suppressors. Like he would that's all he did. He didn't really do anything with guns. So
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if like maybe they get an email or something they check or whatever.
no,
That'll probably
so also the gun store won't know it's approved until they get it in the mail. If that makes
Well,
sense.
no, I'm talking about like I'm wondering like so right now it's saying it's waiting a Form 3 approval or whatever, the part that the gun store has to fill out.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if like they'll get an email saying, "Hey, you need to do this paperwork to get this guy's."
Oh
transfer
yeah,
going."
yeah. I'm pretty sure Silencer Shop takes care of all that stuff. So
That's what I'm saying. I almost want to call them.
I'd give it
hey.
a week. I give them a week to get all caught up and everything. and then give them a call, be like, hey, has everything gone through? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't call them tomorrow. I know you're excited, and you're
Or do it tomorrow and make sure that it gets done fast.
But it's also the listener, like, just be patient with it. I know it's hard to be patient whenever you drop, $1,000 or, right around that price range for a suppressor, but it's worth it in the end, in my opinion. I know some people like your friend said, oh, 300 blackout sucks. Why did I get the suppressor to shoot 300 blackout if we can't kill a deer at like 250 yards? Well, you're not gonna hit it. It's a whole nother topic for another.
It all has
podcast,
to do with your caliber and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah. My next question is, which I asked my buddy and I want to get your input too. Does buying a suppressor speed up the process when you go to purchase another one at all? So say you own one now. Do you think it will speed up the process at all?
I think it did in the past. I don't know if it does anymore.
Okay. That's what I was wondering too,
because I can't confirm or deny it, just because I don't know. But I know some people that have 5 suppressors, and each time they got one, it was a shorter time period, but it was still it's still like a 5-month wait. But it was like it was like days difference. It was like, instead of let's just say I don't know, 150 days, it was 145 or it was 142.
Okay.
But I think it's different per person. I think it's different per time. I can't say yes or no.
Because I see there's a pretty well-known coyote hunting channel on YouTube, and they have shown their armament or their armory before, and almost every gun they have is suppressed. And I was sitting there thinking, man, if it took 8 to however many months to get each suppressor, they've been doing that process for a minute.
Yeah, but also they could, you can always buy more than one at once.
Yeah.
So, and if you put it into a trust, I think it's less paperwork.
Yeah.
But I do not know, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, as the episodes go on, I'll be updating my progress, and Hunter will be updating his progress. So we'll kind of just see. We'll see if maybe he gets his a little faster now that he has his first one, and kind of a race, I guess, see who gets their suppressor first.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a race. I wish I could just blink and open my eyes and it'd be the day my suppressor's ready already.
Man, I'm telling you, once you're done 100% done with your paperwork, just don't even think about it. Act like you didn't even buy it.
Yeah, see, that's very hard for me to do.
If you give it a month, then you won't even forget about it. Or no, sorry, you will forget about it. Just misspoke there. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys I talked to that bought his, he said he got to the point when they called him and said it was ready. He was like, "Oh dang, I forgot I even bought the darn thing."
Yep.
Which,
and it's funny. So the guy that was working the suppressor counter while I was working at this gun store, I came in about lunchtime, which is about the time that the mail people, UPS, FedEx, and USPS all at once would just come in, and he was like, "Hey, how much money you got in your bank account right now?" And I was like, "I don't know." Why? He said, "Well, there's a tax stamp here that you might need to pay off your suppressor for." I was like, "No way." Immediately went to the register, paid for it, and then I was like, "Hey, I'm going to drop this off at home. I'll be right back." I dropped it off in my safe back home, and then it's been 2 years already? No, it's been about 1.5 years since I've had it. And I've shot a lot through it, dude. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see how it works on my bolt gun. Try it out on cow hunting specifically, but darn, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to ask you. So, because I know other people who are looking at getting their suppressors, first time buyers. If you look at your powered by silencer shop dealers, there's different tiers. Like the one I'm doing it is a gold dealer, versus another one in town's an elite dealer. Do you know what the difference is?
I think that doesn't really have anything to do with like paperwork. That's more of like um, I think specific items that they have like control over. So like the elite dealer can like so if they're let's say we're going for like the trash pan like the one that you wanted
Mhm.
and they both want to get one and so they put like let's say like the same time same day by chance they order that suppressor at the same exact time the elite dealer will get it first. Like they have,
Oh, okay.
I think that's the way it works. I think they have priority.
They got a better relationship, basically.
I wouldn't even say relationship. I would just say like they have more of like a reputation.
Yeah.
Because like you know if that one store they push, let's just say for example like 300 suppressors a year, and then this new store they can do like 50 a year. The one that can sell more suppressors is going to have um,
The higher status.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that
Okay.
is. I can definitely ask because I don't know the answer to that. So
I'm looking at Silencer Shop's Facebook page right now, or Silencer Co. I mean, um, and there's a picture of this rifle. It looks like a Remington 700 maybe, or no, it's a Bergera with a heavy barrel. Anyways, it's on a four-wheeler in the snow, and one of the guys commented and said, "This photo makes my crotch chilly." I don't know why, but that made me laugh.
yeah.
Gosh darn it.
So I think before we end this podcast because I didn't realize we've been talking for an hour and a half now.
Yeah, an hour and 32 minutes.
Yep. Um, what else are we going to do with this podcast? I think we should kind of let everyone know because obviously we're going to be doing like education stuff, but I think at a certain point we're going to be doing like product reviews and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I would definitely like to have some episodes of product reviews. And I mean, like, for example, so whenever my suppressor comes in and yours comes in, uh, you know, we've been talking about getting together and shooting. We could, that could be part one podcast, be like, this is this is what I think about the suppressor coming from me, who's first time buyer. This is what I think about my suppressor, and then have you second time buyer and someone who worked at a gun shop and who's been more around them. We could do like our thoughts on those, and then different guns. With my new rifle, I'm still getting to know. Yeah, I
yeah,
think that'd be cool. We could have product reviews. Um, I definitely I definitely like trying out different things, especially when it comes to guns and other outdoor equipment like binoculars and sights and everything. And I think that'd be kind of a cool way for people to see average Joes like us reviewing products the way we use them, because we're not going on these big extravagant hunts every other weekend. We're going out to a deer lease, or we're going out to the range just plinking or hunting.
yep,
So
yeah,
yeah,
and
I
then
definitely would like to use it for reviewing like that.
yeah, and then I think uh, it's going to be a while before we get to this point, but we're going to be doing like reviews of hunts as well. So,
Yeah,
um,
so we were talking about the other day, I mean, the way that we're looking at doing this channel is, one, it's a way for us to talk like we did today, just talking about our
basically,
experiences,
basically
and
just
then
BSing for a little bit.
yeah, just kind of talking about things that we like and what we're interested in. And then I'd like to have some episodes, maybe like, for instance, one of my episodes I want to do is shot placement, and we can review videos. We're not trying to call anyone out, not trying to down anyone or anything, but just go over, hey, this guy in this video, he shot this animal 150 yards and it ran 20 yards, and
And
maybe it
then
just happened to
some
be a freak
slow
accident. But
mo breakdown footage because like I remember we were watching a coyote hunting video and the guy hit him in like the rear side of the rib cage from what it looked
hmm
like, and that's just I don't know hunting. I don't know what he was trying to do, but that just seems like bad shot placement to me. And
yeah, I mean, like for instance, when I was looking at getting that 6.5 Creedmoor, me and you were watching coyote videos, and I don't know if you remember that dude shot a coyote, and he kind of walked a little bit and then slowly expired. And my experience with the 6.5 was totally different. The coyotes I shot immediately dropped, and that was it. There was no expiration time, and that does account. One, I mean, there's a variety of factors: the size of the animal, what happens. They say some animals, if they catch a good breath before a hit, they can run for X amount of yards, and then it also has to do with the ammo you're using. But shot placement is a big key. Everybody was worrying about the size of the bullet, but at the end of the day, if you can't put that bullet where it needs to go, it's not going to do what it's supposed to.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that'll be definitely something we get into because, I mean, I'm not trying to sound cocky or arrogant, but I've only, out of, I want to say roughly 30 or 40 animals I have harvested in my life, I've only had one that I can think of that ran, and he only ran maybe 15, 20 yards, but still, when it came to examining the animal, I did pull a bad shot, but he still expired quickly. And that's the thing too, is that people need to understand is when you're shooting and hunting, people say pay respect to the animal. By that, for me at least, it means, spend your time at the range, spend your time getting to know your equipment, because when it comes to taking the life of an animal, you want to make sure you do it the quickest, most humane possible. You don't want to pull a bad shot.
It's kind of like buck fever in a way.
Yeah.
You're seeing I remember, so I have a story, it can be from a different podcast that I'll talk about this story, but I remember my first time going deer hunting, I wasn't successful in a way that I dropped an animal, but there's reasons behind that. I didn't even pull the trigger on the animal, so it was more of a waiting game. I'll just sum it up like that. But the guy I was with was like, just practice your breathing. Take the round out of the chamber and just go through the motions. He literally said, I know you can drop it if you want to right now, but just go through the motions because it's different than shooting a piece of paper or a piece of steel.
Yeah. So you have that adrenaline going through you, but at the end of the day, you are taking the life of an animal, and you want to make sure you do it properly. So you have to kind of learn and teach yourself that, all right, this is about to happen. In order to do it the way it needs to be done, I need to calm down, take a breath, and execute this process properly. Which you can't practice taking life at a range, but you can practice everything else as far as your trigger, pull, and the shot and everything. And it's just practice, and learn how to adapt to these conditions. You gotta learn to control yourself.
Yeah, and I think a big part of this podcast is because I'm gonna call it tactical experience, because I wasn't part of the military, I wasn't part of any sort of law enforcement, but just the types of guns, what I like to shoot, I'm gonna educate you on, and you're gonna educate me on the hunting, the hunting part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's another thing we're gonna be doing too. It might be a YouTube series, who knows, but that's basically what we're gonna what our plan is for this. At least we're basically just starting off here, seeing where it's gonna go, and then go from there.
Yeah, we've got a good idea of what we want it to be, and hopefully y'all stick around through the process and kind of see us change, and feel free. I know we're looking at putting this on multiple platforms, and hopefully those platforms have a way to get feedback from y'all. And if there's something out there that y'all think we could do better, we're open to all comments. Anything you think could help.
Anything you guys want to hear us talk about too, because I've got a list of podcast topics. I know Hunter here has a list of podcast topics, so it's really just a matter of what do you guys want to listen to.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I think we're right at the hour and 40-minute mark, and that's another thing too with the podcast. We're not going to have
It could be
a
a
set
3 hour
time.
long podcast. It could be a 30
Yeah.
minute long podcast. It's really just whatever we want to talk about that day. So
Try to keep it from being stale, but yeah, I think this is a pretty good introduction. It's a good way for everybody to understand what we're doing. We'll be getting ready for the second one. Not exactly sure. We've got some ideas of what the second episode's going to be, but
we need more talking points because I can explain the whole topic of this in about
Yeah.
10 minutes. But
yeah. Which that's the good thing too that I like about podcasts is I like podcasts that don't feel like it's scripted the whole time. I like obviously like some successful ones, it seems like they have talking points written down and then they just kind of go off of that, and I think that's how we would try, or how I'd like to structure. Like I don't want you, the listener, to feel like we're just reading from a script like a show, but yeah, we're definitely gonna structure it pretty good.
We want talking points, but we don't want it we want it off the top of our head, not be more real, feel more authentic. Yep.
In a way, but yeah.
I think that's
with that, I'd say we're pretty good. We'll see you on the next episode. I'm not sure when this one will drop. It'll probably be today's the 10th. It'll probably be in the next day or so. Hopefully, get that kind of figured out. Once we get the first episode or two out, we'll be able to pump these out pretty quickly.
And I think for sake of for us at least, because we both have full-time jobs. This is more of a hobby thing for us, but we're gonna eventually get to the point where we have a set schedule. Like every Wednesday, it drops at midnight or something like that. So if you're on your way to work or something, you're on your way to the gym in the morning, whatever, you can just listen to us. So
yeah, we'll eventually have a better schedule set up for this, and hopefully have pretty good content coming out for you guys and girls, and or all you outdoor enthusiasts, I should say. But even if you're not, one last thing is, even if you're not an outdoor enthusiast, doesn't mean this podcast isn't for you. I mean, if you decide it is, you decide it isn't. If we can help bring you into the outdoor lifestyle, whether it's fishing, hunting, hiking, whatever, I think that'd be pretty good. Anything that you may have questions about, we'll eventually hopefully have something set up where you can send in, hey, what do you think about this, or what's the best way to start doing this?
Yep.
But yeah,
I agree.
But with that, I'd say we're pretty good for the first episode. What I'd have to say to all you is stay safe, stay active, and enjoy the outdoors.